What's poppin', dogs? Mr. Allen here, and I'll tell you what's poppin'. The math's poppin'. We're about to graph this quadratic function. It's got a negative leading coefficient along with a 2. Man, this thing's gonna be crazy. Let's get after it. Let's do it. First thing we want to do, we want to find that vertex. And the way I'm going to do that is finding my x-coordinate first, which has, the bonus factor. It gives me my axis of symmetry as well. So let's go for it. I know that I have my formula x equals the opposite of b divided by 2a. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in my a and my b values. So I'm going to have x equals the opposite of negative 8 would be positive 8 divided by 2 times my a value, which is negative 2. So 8 divided by negative 4, that's going to give you negative 2. So my axis of symmetry is negative 2, and my vertex x-coordinate, the x-coordinate of my vertex, is going to be negative 2 as well. How am I going to go about finding my y-coordinate of the vertex? Well, I can just substitute any x value in and get a y value. So I'll substitute my x value of my vertex in and get my y value of my vertex. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm going to have negative 2, and then negative 2 is going to get plugged in for my x squared minus 8 times negative 2 plus 1. So this is f of negative 2 here, right? If we want to use proper function notation, I'm substituting in negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4 times negative 2 gives me negative 8 minus 8 times negative, so that'd be positive, right? That'd be plus 16 plus 1. All right, so I'm going to have negative 8 plus 16 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So I'm going to have a y value of positive 9 for that one. Beautiful. All right. Can I get my y-intercept? Let's go about that. Let's see what we can do. Well, if I plug in 0 for x, that's going to give me my y-intercept, right? If I have 0 for my x value, it's bound to be somewhere along my y-axis. So let's plug in 0 for x. If I do that, everything's gone except for that 1. So I'm going to have 0, comma, 1. I've got a solid amount of points here. Let's go ahead and graph this. So I'm going to go ahead and start my vertex. That's negative 2, positive 9, which brings me all the way up here. And then I have my axis of symmetry, which is x equals negative 2. That's a vertical line going through that vertex. And we always do that dashed, all right? That way it doesn't look like it's actually the graph of this parabola. Now, it is negative out in front. We have a negative lead coefficient, so we know this thing's going to be opening down. All right, so let's see here. Our y-intercept is 0, positive 1, all the way down here. And I can use that axis of symmetry to reflect over my point over there, 2 away from it, and I get another coordinate, so I've got 3 points. Usually we like to have 5 points when we're graphing a quadratic. You can do it with 3, but to get that nice curvature, usually having 5 total points is good. So what other point am I going to use? Well, let's organize this in a t-chart and kind of fill in some gaps. So if I do that, I'm going to have x, y. My vertex was negative 2, positive 9. We also had the x value of 0. That's larger than negative 2, and we got 1. So perhaps we could plug in and say negative 1, right? That's a point that's right along here, kind of between the axis of symmetry, that vertex, and that other known point. So let's go ahead and do that. If I plug in negative 1, squaring that gives me positive 1, times negative 2 gives me negative 2. Negative 2 then plus 8 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So I'm going to get negative 1 comma 7, and I would also get that if I were to plug in negative 3, which is right over here. I'd end up getting 7 as well, and we already knew that negative 4 was going to give us positive 1, right? There's our pattern. If you plug those all in, you would see that if you evaluated it yourself, but we can use what we know about quadratics to speed things up a little bit. All right, now I'm ready to connect the dots here. Let's see what we got. Ooh, boom. And then let's see if I can do this here. Oh my God, that was absolutely terrible. All right, that's a little better. That's a little better. Oof, that first one, that was rough. All right, it's a little tough on the screen here. Always tough even with pencil too, you know? All right, well, there it is. We have a negative lead coefficient. It's upside down, like an N shape. We got everything, though. We got everything it asked for. We didn't get any x-intercepts here. We'll do that maybe a little bit later with a calculator, with some factoring or quadratic equation. But for now, that's it. That's awesome. That's dope. I'll see you guys later.